from RTO. Welcome to a Battle of the Debuts. Well, sort of a Battle of the Debuts, because it's viewers pick time. As you know, next month we start the Battle Royale. But if you remember, I think it was July that I threw out a challenge. Which albums do you want to pitch against each other? We had a really good response. So we did pick some out, and then there was ones that weren't picked, and Dave and I thought they were such good picks, the ones that were left, we would throw them into another sort of round, and we was one short, so Dave put one in that he wanted to do, and it's a really good one. So we've just gone with these. Now I can't remember who asked for this one. I'm sure you'll let me know. And it was Genesis against the Strawbs, and the albums were Selling England by the Pound against Hero or Heroine, which is going to be tough for me because I love both these albums, both my #1 albums by these bands. So this was going to be a tough one. So who went first? It was Genesis who released their album first. Don't have to go into the history of Genesis. We know the history of Genesis. But Selling England by the Pound was the 5th album by Genesis. And it was released in October of 1973. We should know who plays on it. Of course, there's Peter Gabriel on flutes and vocals. Steve Hackett the guitars and bass pedals and all that sort of good stuff. Mike Rutherford on the bass, Tony Banks on keyboards, and Phil Collins on drums and vocals. So we know the opening track, of course. Starts off with "Can you tell me where my country lies?" It's the brilliant dancing in the moonlit night. I just love this track. Or some great keyboards from Tony. The Steve Hackett's guitar work is just fabulous on this track. There's not more I can say about that track, is that it's just absolutely magnificent. Then we get the quirky and the single "I Know What I Like in Your Wardrobe." Dum-de-dum-de-dum, it's time for lunch and all that sort of thing. Again, it's just brilliant. Fun, quirky, and one of the only big singles they had. Then we come up to the best song ever recorded by Genesis. It's even well, second best I'd say then, because Supper's Ready. But this is probably the best Steve Hackett guitar work ever, and he still plays it today. And it's the brilliant Firth of Fifth. Starts off with that lovely piano from Tony, some lovely flute from Peter, and the best guitar solo ever on a Genesis song. Absolutely brilliant track. There's not more again you can say about this. It's just a pure brilliance. Let's look at one of the more less known tracks on this album, and it's a track called "More Fool Me." Now this is a Phil Collins song. It's really interesting. So quite a high-pitched vocal. It's one that's never really talked about. It's just there, isn't it? But it's a good track. I like it. Then we flip it over to side 2, and we start off with another brilliant track, "The Battle of Epping Forest." Love the keyboards here from Tony. The little twirly bit. It's some of Phil's best drumming on this album as well. Fantastic. And then we get a little instrumental. Now I've heard Steve Hackett done this as a little solo thing on an acoustic guitar, and it's after the Ordeal. It's just a lovely track, and some on the album you've got some brilliant work here from Steve and Tony. It's fantastic. It's just a lovely little track. And then we get one of my second favourite track on here. It's the fantastic Cinema Show. This song belongs and is owned by Mr. Tony Banks. His keyboard work on this is just terrific. There's some lovely runs throughout this album, but the bit we all love is the bit when they used to do this live. It's that bit in the middle. It was in the medley when you used to have Chester and Phil do the drum, and it's that brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Then we get the album ends with this thing called Isle of Plenty. Now it sort of fades out from the Cinema Show. There's some lovely mellotron here, and then it sort of starts off with that delicate guitar from Dancing in the Moonlit Night. What a way to end the album, closing it with a Cinema Show and then just going flipping back to Dancing with the Moonlit Night, and then a little vocal from Peter. Absolutely brilliant. Well, you think you know what I think of this album. It's a masterpiece of progressive rock. Best album they ever made. And it is my favorite. That's why it's my favourite. It's got an album that's got Dancing in the Moonlit Night, Firth of Fifth, The Cinema Show, Battle of Epping Forest, all absolute classic Genesis songs. Hence why it's my favourite. So what did the critics think of this album? Now this will be interesting, won't it? So, Rolling Stones, Paul Gambaccini, he was working with back then, praised the band for attempting something utterly different amidst the stagnant pop scene, but criticised the album's lyrics, feeling they're overrushed British pop culture references. Despite this, Gambaccini thought the album merits some recognition. New Music Express Barbara Sharon said the album was the band's best and most adventurous album to date. It still remains that. The Guardian's Robin Denslow wrote, much of the material is instinctive and tedious. Idiot. What does he know? I bet he's eats those words now. The Village Voice, so it's Mr. Robert Christgau, assessed the record as a down-to-earth progressive, which means that it indulges in its snooty satire. This is an American that knows jack about prog. I really don't like this guy. He just... Have you watched this? Or have you... I'm sorry, you don't know nothing about prog. You're an American that just thinks it's tedious. It's beautiful music. So there. Okay then, let's look at the scores on the doors for Selling England by the Pound. All Music gave it a 5 stars. Chris Gill's Record Guide gave it a B. Encyclopedia Popular Music gave it a 3 out of 5. The Great Rock Discography gave it a 10 out of 10. Music Hound Rock gave it 4 out of 5. Q gave it a 4 out of 5. Rolling Stone Album Guide gave it a 2 out of 5. How did it do in the charts and the fans? Well, obviously it got to number 3 here in the UK, number 4 in Italy because they went big in Italy, 70 in America, 19 in Finland, Australia, 52. The album went gold here in the UK, gold in the States, gold in France and Italy, but got platinum in Canada. Now the thing is, a platinum in Canada is 100,000 units, and it's the same as gold over here. And gold in America is 500,000, whatever. So yeah, very popular album, still is. Now, Genesis fans, your favourite is either amongst the the old fans is either The Lamb or Selling England. I'm in the Selling England thing. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of this. Song quality, great songs, the lyrics are great. if you're British, you understand them, because it was a time of troubles, and that's where they got the title of the album from. Selling in England by the pound. 5 out of 5. Production, beautiful production. It's a fantastic album. This album doesn't date to this day, so that's 5 out of 5. Reception, it went. Everybody loves this album. That's a Genesis fan. It's in practically everybody's top 3. Very successful. You know, gold discs, platinum discs. So I'm going to give that a 5 out of 5. Cover design. Now, the cover, of course, is a painting by Betty Swanwick, which is entitled "The Dream," and it was a poster that was designed for London transport between the 30s and 50s. The original painting did not include a lawnmower. It's just a very iconic cover, so I'm going to give that a 5 out of 5. So for today, it's a full house for Genesis selling England by the pound. 20 out of 20, because it is one of the greatest albums, in my opinion, to ever grace this land. Okay, up next, another band that I'm very dear to my heart, the Strawbs. Now, these were formed in 1964. A very successful band. People like Sandy Denny that went on to Fairport Convention. We've had Dave Cousins in the band. Rick Wakeman's been in the band. Dave Lambert, John Howkin, Chaz Cronk. They're all here. So the album we're going to look at is, again, my favourite album by the Strawbs, released in 1974, and it was their 7th album, and it's Hero and Heroine. Playing on here on this one was Dave Cousins, Dave Lambert, John Howkin, Chaz Cronk and Rod Coombes, and Claire Dinez played some cello. So this album opens up with the fantastic Autumn. Another iconic piece of music, prog music. Split into the 3, we got Heroine's theme, Deep Summer Sleep, The Winter Long. The Mellotron at the start of this is definitely, oh, I love Mellotron. It's just the Dave Cousins sort of eerie sort of vocals as well as Dave Lambert. They all could sing. John Howkins' Mellotron and synthesizers all sound great. It's just one of them most iconic pieces of music ever to grace the earth. I love that track to death. Then we get Sad Young Man. The electric piano really sparkles this track. A really good vocal, some great guitar work again on this. It's just a fantastic track. Just Love. This is just a straight rock track, cranking riffs in it. Some great drumming here. It's just an incredible track. Shine on Silver Sun. Atmospheric, typical Dave Cousins vocals. Great piano from John. Just another immense track. Then we get the title track, Hero and Heroine. Dramatic, lovely acoustic guitars, lots of little tangents of sound. Wonderful track. Midnight Sun. Another big feature of this is flute and congos. Really adds to atmosphere to another brilliant song. Out in the Cold. What a bass line on this. The guitars, it's just the guitar solo is up there with the Firth of Fifth. Absolutely fantastic. Round and Round takes a little while to get going, but the riffs, that strong John's keyboards come through again. Lay a Little Light on Me. again, John's keyboards do really good. He's got a strummy guitar. Again, it's just a great track. Hero's theme, the last track, some great guitar work on this. Is probably some of the nicest and best guitar work on this album. Absolutely stunning track to end the album. This is a brilliant album. This is what I think of it. It's very underrated. It doesn't get enough praise. It's up there with Selling England by the Pound. It's up there with Close to the Edge. It's just one of them iconic albums. It should have done better in the charts. I've always said this. I think it's a great album. I play this to death. I even sometimes play that remake. Even though it's not as good as this, it's pretty good. I just love this album. So, what do the critics think? So, Stephen Lamb, author of Citizens of Hope and Glory, said in the book The Story of Progressive Rock, called it their most prog album, and has identified John Hawkins' mellotron playing as a particular highlight. I totally agree with it. The album ranked number 44 in the 50 greatest prog albums of all time. There's not much else written about this, but AllMusic gave it a 4.5. Reached number 35 in the charts. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of this one. Song quality, again, great writing. The height of prog in its height, great stuff. 5 out of 5 again. Production, wonderful production on this. Prog albums always used to have some of the best production in the 70s. Again, I don't think this album, this original, does not date. You play the remastered and remixed and re-recorded, it just hasn't got the same edge as this. So I'm going to give that 5 out of 5. Reception. Not many people wrote about it, but to make it 44 in the top 50 of the greatest prog albums ever made from Rolling Stone, that's pretty impressive. Got to number 35 in the charts. That's the only place it charted. So I'm going to give that 4 out of 5. Cover design. I love the concept, but it's not very colourful. You sort of miss it. It's too pastiche. I like that sort of design, but it needs to be thing. But the cover of the remaster is far better. Take that cover and put it on that, and it would have been a 5 out of 5. But unfortunately, I can only give this a 3 out of 5. Okay, so the grand total for Heroine by the Strawbs is 17 out of 20. Okay, point-wise, it's a win for Genesis on minor things, reception and covers, but everything else with the album is equal. The songs, the production. Guess what? I'm calling this a draw for me, because I cannot choose. I was saying to Dave about this. I cannot choose because I love both albums equally. I don't want to choose. I'm sitting on the fence. So I'm handing this one to you guys, because I can't make a decision on this. I won't care who wins this one, because I love both albums. I cannot choose. So this is an official me copping out. I'm going to hand it over to the masses today, because I think I can't get nothing between them. That thin. There's nothing. I just can't. Anyway, you know how you do this. The poll on live stream tonight. there's a poll in the community, or just put who you prefer in the comments below if you're watching this via Facebook or Twitter. Okay, that's all for this one. Got a really good one for you next week. Again, a tough one on me. But we'll be back very shortly with Pick and Mix, and we're going to take a trip down memory lane. So today we're going to look at the top 10 singles on this day in 1970. So I shall see you all later. Bye for now.